My dear friends, may you have a blessed day. Maayong adlaw kaniyong tanan, magandang araw sa inyong lahat. In this week, we'll be reflecting about the beauty of suffering in Christ. In the book of Jeremiah, his encounter with the people is a witness to his faith for God, who sent him to preach the truth for their healing, for their well-being, for their salvation. And yet, Jeremiah experienced the denial from his own people, the betrayal from his own people, because he simply proclaimed to them the truth. Have you experienced in your life a betrayal or blame from the very people you love or institutions you served? Or who among you experience that blame and sufferings or mistakes attributed to you by other people? Like Jeremiah, each of us is not immune from a microscopic yet myopic eye of society. It is always looking for someone to blame, if not to praise. How much good news we hear from News Cycle every day. Is it bad news or good news? Unfortunately, most of them are so depressing to hear. Christ warns us in the Gospel of Matthew, "Be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body." This warning is a fact of life that you and I will face our fear and carry our cross in many forms or ways. It means that we must be accountable and be responsible for our mistakes and actions in life. Unfortunately, the greatest fears in life is our fear itself. We are afraid to accept our mistakes and failures because we keep a standard without mercy. We have our pride and self-sufficiency instead of God's forgiveness and mercy to all of us. God did not promise a life without pain, but rather, through this pain and fear and anxiety in life, it will give us no form of strength. Think of a world for a moment when accusations and finger pointing are directed to me first than others. How clearly we can see and hear those traumatic words and actions. This finger pointing, my dear friends, is the source of chaos in our society. Each of us would like to look for a scapegoat rather than be accountable to the truth. Scapegoating happens in our society, in our family, in our friendships, in relationships, and even in the institution who claim to love and preach the good news. But what good news? Is it the goodness of Christ or the goodness from institutional norms and sufficiency, which sometimes separates and divides people than unite the community? Or is it an institution, as Pope Francis once said, an institution that is willing to be poor and encounter the messiness of human experience, to listen, to accompany, to walk, and even to discern together? My dear friends, the church founded by Christ is more than a sacrament or keeper of sacramental goods and pious devotions. The church is a human and divine institution which is the means for eternal salvation of all people, of every tribe, tongue, culture, continents, and the entire creation. It does not claim as the absolute, but simply serve the purpose of the absolute God to heal a soul wounded by sin. Therefore, today as more than ever, we, the baptized, the living church of God, ought to heal and bind each other's wounds rather than inflicting pain with each other. We inflict pain with each other by claiming our superior theological studies and knowledge, by ministerial position, advanced learning, political power in society. We should use this as a means to serve the love of God for our brothers and sisters, equal in human dignity, and by walking together humbly with God. Christianity is only for those who can take sufferings and harsh accusations with joy like Jeremiah. Christianity genuinely grateful for the simple blessing of life every day. A Christian is not only afraid of what can destroy his or her reputation out of love for God, but rather finding meaning in suffering and rise above it. If we have not felt this much, then maybe our claim of being a Christian is not what Christ calls us to be. We are challenged to live a Christian life beyond what we think, to live Christian life what God has planned for us. For a true Christian is not afraid to embrace the cross and discomfort in life. A true Christian is not afraid to love and be loved, to forgive and be forgiven. Instead, a true Christian allows Christ to rise above with her or his doubts and anxieties, fears in life. My dear friends, as our blessed Lord reminds us, have no fear, for I am always with you until the end of the age. Amen.